Your captain's dead, soldier! Bloody hell, it's a rock! We're on a collision course! We have to get to the bridge!
Yeah, we got another problem!
We've got company!
It starts promisingly enough. A mad dash off a sinking ship, a military coup, and a zombie horde just aching to be shown the business end of a shotgun. And then, just like that, the promise is taken away. Dead Island Riptide teases far more in its opening minutes than it ever manages to deliver across its lengthy campaign. There's no drama and little excitement. Instead, there's a rehash of old ideas, combat that's fun for all of 5 minutes, and a seemingly never-ending slog of repetitive missions filled with characters that have the emotional depth of a wet sponge. If there was ever a video game equivalent of smacking your head against a brick wall, Riptide would be it. The story, and that's using the word generously, is filled with the sort of terrible dialogue, hammy voice acting and cliches you'd expect to see in an awful zombie spoof, or at best a trashy B-movie.
So you immune too? So it seems.
But there's no sense of humour or self-awareness here. To Riptide's detriment, it takes itself very seriously. And that seriousness is hard to swallow when you have to look after a bunch of shallow, argumentative characters who utter irritating swears every few minutes and prove so unlikable that you're willing them to be torn apart by the zombie horde just so you can have some peace and quiet. Then there's the plot itself, which endlessly meanders between government conspiracy, sci-fi, and human interest without even the slightest sense of direction. This all makes it so very hard to care about anything that happens in Riptide. By the time you drag yourself through to the disappointing ending, apathy is taken over to the point where the characters could turn into flying pink unicorns that shoot lasers out of their nostrils, and you wouldn't bat an eyelid.
Don't let me die!
And that's only if you can muster up enough energy to make it that far. Riptide's sandbox island of Hanoi isn't filled with the fun zombie-killing adventures you might expect. Instead, there are fetch quests.
I need to get to Henderson, and the only way is with a boat!
Lots of fetch quests.
Oh, bloody hell, now I need to find the engine.
And within those fetch quests are yet more fetch quests. Nearly every one of the main missions and side quests requires you to head over to a part of the island, find an item, and bring it back to base. Often before you can retrieve said item, the game makes you fetch something for the person who holds the item, thus creating a fetch quest within a fetch quest.
No, I need fuel for my generator before I can open my Marseille. Can you help me?
To make matters worse, the combat that ties the whole thing together remains largely unchanged from that of Dead Island, which is to say, it's massively frustrating. The focus is once again on melee weapons, which can be upgraded using items scavenged from around the island. Initially, at least, bludgeoning a zombie to death with an improvised nail-covered baseball bat is amusing. The limitations of the combat soon become clear though. Attacking zombies still feels wildly inaccurate, slow and very dull, making it difficult to truly master. The result is that the combat quickly deteriorates into a repetitive mess as you kick a zombie backward, flail randomly at it, back off while it attacks, and repeat the whole process ad nauseum. The vast majority of the zombies you face attack in the same way, rushing towards you until you knock them back with a kick to start the dull attack process. For a game so focused on combat, it's galling that you spend most of your time wanting to avoid zombies, just so you can spare yourself the resulting tedium. Your reward for the hard combat slog is experience points, which are used to level up your character and unlock new skills such as increased weapon accuracy and faster reload times. Not that they make a whole lot of difference to the way the game plays, mind. It's all about keeping your level up to that of the zombies around you so you can fetch items for those other characters. Riptide's role-playing game elements mean that as much as you might want to, you can't avoid combat entirely. But then, even if you did, what you'd be left with is a shallow husk of a storyline and an irritating cast of characters that you'd much rather see turned into a bloody mess than offered rescue. In fact, there's so little to like in Riptide that mustering up the enthusiasm to reach the lackluster ending is a challenge for only the most hardcore of zombie fans to take on. And don't bother trying to enlist a few friends for some 4-player co-op. It doesn't make the game any more exciting in the slightest. Riptide is dumb and mind-numbingly slow, and somehow manages to make the ancient art of zombie slaying feel like utter tedium. And if slaying zombies isn't fun in a game that's all about slaying zombies, what else is there?